Larry! There we go. Yep. Hey, folks, welcome back to the Codex Station's Comic Character of the Week. I'm your host tonight, Salad Slab Guy. Down below is Dan Kelly Art. Right next to him is the Ric Flair of comics. And, of course, we've got our master builder right there, J-Dub. Tonight, we're going to be going over all things Black Manta, but we're in the pre-show right now, so let's give it a little loose before we talk about everything. How you guys doing?
Doing great because
dying over this draft.
Genty will stay in the AFC. Yes. Thank God. My nightmare scenario was Dallas getting that son of a gun.
Yeah.
So he wasn't going to slip far enough for them to get him.
What about Jags trading up to 2?
Man, they gave up a lot.
Yes.
Hi, Liz.
Hey, Liz.
but Cleveland traded him a lot, too.
How about the fact that there's 7 teams that have picked and only one quarterback that's gone? New York needs a quarterback. Cleveland needs a quarterback. The Raiders need a quarterback. The Jets need a quarterback. And they all went the other way.
That's because this isn't a quarterback year.
Yeah. I bet you that the Saints take one, though.
Well, yeah, but they're not supposedly. I don't know that they're going to go with Shador. I think if anybody gets him in the first round, it's Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with that because I don't think he's going to be that great in the NFL.
I have my doubts. I will say that. My great scenario is that Dart is still available when Washington picks 29th, and they can trade back with somebody that wants to come up and get him. So and get some picks because Washington only has 5 picks because they gave up a pick to get Deebo Samuel, 2 picks to get Tunsil. But I'm good with what they did because that's a hell of a left tackle, and Deebo Samuel I think is really going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they only gave up a 5th to get him. So
yeah, they gave him a 5th. I remember texting you that day.
Yeah, I mean I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they can re-sign him to a longer deal.
Yep, but I was really worried about Genty. I was also worried about the Bears getting him because the Bears have put together a pretty decent.
That's what I was saying. I was just telling Dan that I was like, I want him to drop 10. My dad would go nuts.
And you know what? What Clay Matthews did at the beginning, saying the Bears still suck. You know what? That's funny. Except I don't know if it was good taste considering that McMichael just died yesterday.
Yeah,
I think that was poor taste.
I was watching WCW just to hear his voice again.
Yep. So,
but Sal, what do we got going on today, bud?
We got some hockey going on, too. Don't forget that.
Caps up 2-0.
Yep. I'm liking it. I didn't like their play in a couple of spans there, but I think overall they're looking pretty good.
Oh, my God. Thompson stood on his head in the third
Thompson stood on his head. Wow. You shouldn't make a goalie stand on his head, but he did. He did. And he saved their bacon that night.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Yeah, Bruce got a good point. Bowers last year and Genty this year.
Bruce, that's a great point. Bowers was a hell of a pick. And Genty, I'm telling you, Genty's going to be a superstar. I know we didn't have the capital, but if Washington had given up that 29th pick and the 61st pick to move up to get him, and you would have had to give up more than that to get him, I'd have said, yes, please, Lord, because even though it wouldn't help our defense on the field, it would help our defense not be on the field because our offense would be on the field longer with that dude.
Did you see the stats that in college football last year, the number one rusher was in college football was Genty, and the number 2 rusher in college football was in yards. In the number 1 in yards was Genty, and the number 2 in yards was Genty with yards he'd gotten after contact.
After
yards he got after contact were more than
anybody else
by like a couple hundred yards.
Wow.
He that dude is like 5'9", 215 pounds. He is a bowling ball.
Well, the Panthers took a guy whose name I cannot pronounce.
Yeah.
But you know what name we can pronounce?
Black Manta.
Black Manta. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get some business out of the way before we kick off the main show. I told you once already, I'm your host tonight, Sal the Slab Guy. When I'm not here on Codex, check me out on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner and also Instagram as the Slab Guy 77. Down below, you can find where Dan. Tell everybody where they can find you and show off what you could do.
You can find me on Instagram, Dan Kelly Art, and I don't want to show that. I already showed that.
I've been there, done that.
Keep it PG though. Keep it PG, please.
They've already seeing all the stuff. Just go on there and look at it, and you can see all the artwork. I just posted. What did I post today?
Forget.
Yeah, I posted the inks on
Hush.
the Silk and Spider Gwen.
Yeah, that.
Let's talk about the Maleficent you did. That may be the best thing I have ever seen you do. That was spectacular.
Definitely.
1000%. I even agree to that one.
Wow, that was amazing.
I absolutely hated drawing that. It took me so long to do it because I kept avoiding it because I actively did not want to do it. But $50 is $50.
Yeah.
Because
it's a hell of a piece, man.
My cousin wanted me to do it because she said her husband's favorite Disney character is Maleficent. So she sent me a picture. I was like, draw this. And it was clearly an AI thing. So when I was drawing it, and I'm like, all right, I'm, got the pose and, all the stuff on it. But, AI isn't good with symmetry. So like the stuff will look one way on one side and different on the other. So I was kind of having to say like, all right, well, it looks this way on this side. So it needs the design needs to be this way on the other side too.
All right. Well, everybody, folks, go check out Dan Kelly Art on Instagram. Check out his stuff. He's got lots of stuff posted there. Do a commission. Don't ask for anything crazy because he gets upset about it. Then we have to hear about it.
Yeah.
No, I was just like Maleficent. I mean, I'm glad it turned out pretty good.
No, it's
people
amazing.
like it, but
it's amazing, dude.
It was really just a pain because of all the little bits of detail.
He's waiting for people to ask him to draw naked women. And he's
waiting for that.
I mean, I'm not opposed to doing that.
So, well, speaking of naked women, we got that guy next to you right there. Uncle Gary, the Ric Flair of comics.
Woo! That's right.
Oh, that made my heart hurt.
Comic Logic, baby. Loudoun County, Virginia's only comic book store. We're in the Northern Virginia area. If you are in the area, please come in and see us. You can catch me, Rob Kalin, Mighty Mike Harbor every Wednesday, getting that 4-color ink right in there, baby. Getting right in there. Get you strong. Comic books, I've told you once, twice, a million times. Reading comics make you strong. You start out with a book, then a stack, and then it's a short box and a long box. Next thing you know, you've lifted them and moved them and moved them and lifted them, and you are packed and you are jacked, baby. Also do some push-ups. That helps.
Yes,
so
that does.
Come see us. We have several events coming up that are kind of a big deal. We have Free Comic Book Day coming up the first Saturday in May. Our guest will be Diana Lee Insanto, who is in on that comic right there, her image, her likeness of the character she portrays. And if you like your martial arts history, she is also the son of Daniel Insanto and the goddaughter. I mean, she is the daughter of him, the goddaughter of Bruce Lee. It doesn't get any more highly pedigreed than that. Come see her on Free Comic Book Day, first Saturday in May. Please come see her. It's just a mere week and a couple days away.
Yes.
Also,
is there is she or had she told you guys, or do you know?
I don't know what her pricing will be. Yeah, don't know what her pricing will be.
Okay, because my buddy wants me to has the Black Series figure of her Star Wars character, and I'm going to see him on Saturday because he wants to get autographed. And I was like, I don't know. I said this is what Brendan Wayne charged, so I would assume it's probably.
I would imagine it's close. She they will set her prices when she gets here. We've our job is getting her here. So she will charge what she charges, but I imagine it will be comparable to what Brendan charged.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
2 weeks later than that, we have our fall LotCon. Our spring LotCon, where we turn our parking lot into a mini Comic Con, and that will be on Sunday, May 18th. Sunday, May 18th.
Sunday.
And come see us. We'll have 30 plus vendors, comics, toys, local artists, local authors, jewelry, even tattoo. If you want to get a tat, they'll be right there. I think Rob's gotten a tattoo every time they've been here. So there's plenty of things to do and to see. Please come to LotCon. Then 2 weeks after that, we'll be set up at the Big Lick Comic Con at the Dulles Expo Center. It's a 2-day event, May 31st, June 1st, in Dulles Expo Center, right near the airport here in Virginia. And then the week after that, we will have the one and only Jim Calafori in our store, Comic Logic, signing autographs. He'll have his second volume of Ned, Lord of the Pit, and he'll be signing autographs. He'll be doing some quick free sketches for people, and he will also do more detailed sketches if you pay the piper there. So yeah,
these guys pretty pleased.
Cash is king.
Cash is king, baby. So come to those events. We'd love to have you there. There you go. Somebody could get a Codex tattoo.
Sal can get it as a tramp stamp.
Yep. Well, I think Sonny should get it as a face tattoo.
Yeah, Sonny should get like a face tattoo, a neck
face
one.
tattoo for Sonny. Also, want to give some love to the Comic Character of the Day site, which is where we all became acquainted. Started by the Archduke Kevin Berkeley himself, now being run by Dan the Man Kelly. It has been a Justice League month, except for Thursdays, which will go to whoever the character of the week is. So, but it's been a fun month to see all these great Justice League and Justice League affiliated characters. I'll do a cover of the day, as we'll Talking Geek, and sometimes you get two covers for the price of one. So, like today you did. So that's a great thing to have. So please come see us there. And then when you're done there, look over and try to see if you can find the guy that built this thing here. The one, the only J-Dub who built it brick by brick by brick. And now we have this broadcasting channel that reaches you no matter where you are. It reaches all from coast to coast, across the oceans. We've had guests from Europe. We've had guests from Japan. We reach the world over because this man built an edifice with an antenna that broadcasts throughout this globe. And only a man with vision, a hell of a vision, could do that, J-Dub.
I do my best. I'm sorry. I was laughing because Theo's talking more now. So I heard banana out.
Banana.
Was he watching Minions?
Yeah, as you say, Minions.
Yeah, that, and then he's saying SpongeBob. So
good.
Oh, I was wrong. The Saints did not take a quarterback. They took an offensive lineman.
Yeah, they're not. This isn't the quarterback year. You know, one thing Cleveland's got going for them is now they have those 2 picks. Next year will be a good quarterback year. They can leverage and move up if they need to.
Yeah, but it's Cleveland, so you know that they'll make the wrong decision.
Yes, but you know what the right decision is? Go into the CodexStation.com. It's your one-stop shop for everything Codex. Get some merch, meet the team, let us know what you like and don't like, and find us on
so all those socials, because Jamie wants me to tell you that we are all infected with all the socials, and we like nothing more than to give them to you.
That's right.
Yes,
that is right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Since my lights have gone red, that means it's time to start the show. Are you guys ready?
You mean you're in the penalty box?
Kick-ass intro? Huh? No, not the penalty box. I'm never in the penalty box. I'm
the doghouse.
Rough. All right, folks. Stick around for 1 minute. We'll be right back. Check out this intro.
Mercy is for surface dwellers. If you want to wear the crown, Aquaman, then bleed for it. The only thing I want is the death of Aquaman.
I dig it. Very well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Every week I just keep getting longer. At some point, we're going to go on their sales and be like, "All right, we'll be right back in about an hour and a half," and it's just going to be an entire movie.
It's just the episode.
That's the whole episode right there. There you go.
Good. That might not be bad.
We all have breaks now.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Codex Station. Today, we're going to deep dive into the depths of DC's most coldest, ruthless sea villain of all time. We're talking the Helmet. We're talking Blades. We're talking Vengeance. We're talking about Black Manta himself, the man who made Aquaman bleed, broke Atlantis, and he raised hell from the trench to all the way to the throne room. So we're diving in deep for the legacy, the lore, and the lethal drip of DC's deadliest. You may root for Batman, you may follow Superman, but today we ride with the villain. Let's talk Black Manta. Dan, tell us all about it.
Oh,
Jeez.
even though you're like, oh yeah, that's right. It should be mine. I know. He's just riding my coattails, man. But the sun's got to shine on every dog's ass every now and then.
That's right. I'm only here for the skills because of Gary's taught me. That's what it is.
It's a wonder any of us are on the air then.
That was the case, we'd all just have paper cups and long strings and be talking.
Yeah, big hands.
And Jamie's sitting over here with a Pringles can.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, give us the intro, please.
Black Manta first appeared in Aquaman 35 in September of 1967, created by Bob Haney and Gary's boy Nick Cardy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You own that issue? Of course you own that issue.
Well, let's see. My Aquaman run is complete from issue. Oh yeah, 1.
He has several different origins. I'll be honest, I'm not sure which origin is actually canon at the moment, so I'm just going to go with the origin that I like best. And in that origin, Dr. Stephen Shin. Oh, hey, Mobius, what's up?
Hey, Mobius.
Hello.
So in the origin that I like best, that I think actually works best for the character and best explains his obsession with Aquaman, it's the one where Dr. Stephen Shin hired David Milton, who would become Black Manta, hired him to get a sample of Arthur Curry's DNA. This is before he became Aquaman. And he goes to do that, but in the process, Arthur's father, Thomas Curry, steps in to try and protect him, has a heart attack and dies. Arthur blames David for this and goes after him and mistakes his father, Jesse, for him and accidentally kills him. And then that is why David then swore vengeance against Aquaman. And then as he became Aquaman, David became Black Manta, and is also a, undersea scavenger and a pirate. But of all his origins, I feel like that's the one that actually legitimately explains his hatred, his absolute hatred for Aquaman better than any of the other ones do.
You killed my father. No, you killed my father.
Prepare to die. Sorry.
I like that origin best too. I do.
Power-wise, he has had powers, but really, it's that he is a genius. He's a skilled swordsman, marksman, skilled with a bunch of weapons, and skilled in hand-to-hand combat. And then he has the armor he wears that you could see that Gary has there that gives him super strength. He has energy blast that he shoots out of those big-ass bug eyes. He's got hidden weapons and things all over it, and it allows him to breathe underwater.
Nice. All right, so for our first segment of the night, ladies and gentlemen, it is what works best for this character. And Uncle Gary, I'm going to let you kick us off for that. What works best for you for Black Manta?
I love that. Thank you. But Aquaman is my favorite character, and even though Aquaman doesn't have a huge rogues gallery, this dude is bad. This dude is badass.
He's really just got the big two, him and Ocean Master.
Ocean Master, absolutely. So Black Manta is really interesting that, he existed for years, but they didn't even reveal his name. They didn't even reveal he was black until Adventure 452, after he had been around for about 10 years or so. And he was more of a militant then. He was like a radical with his followers and his zealots. And he going against all the world governments, all against Atlantis. And then he kind of morphed into a bit of a pirate. But what I really like is the origin that Dan has mentioned, and he's more of a scavenger. He'll take from vessels that have been sunk, and he's also he's a genius as far as building tech and things like that. The weapons that he's got with the suit. I mean, here he's got blades. He's got blades, but he has the lasers. And I think, Black Manta, the helmet is like one of the most badass headgear in the comics. It is just so freaking cool. And the images that Sal showed, where the eyes were glowing and the lasers that could shoot underwater, so badass. I like him too because, you know, he's almost on the level of sociopath that Bullseye is, but you do see some reasoning behind it, and he does have goals. He's got goals that are, whether either it's conquest or you know, to gain, you know, when he gets riches, I think it's in order to further his conquest, further his schemes. And I like him where he's got, you know, the larceny of a pirate in him, and he's savage, and he's got anger and rage, but he's also very intelligent, and he's a plotter, and he's a planner. You know, he's not a guy that's just emotional, going to do this and that. He schemes. He schemes, and he is ruthless, and he is brutal, and he will slit throats, men, women, doesn't care, will kill his own men, you know. So I like him as just kind of a ruthless psychopath, but is intelligent and has a plan. And, you know, I just think he, as a villain, he's one of those villains that's just really scary as hell.
Right.
Yep. I agree.
That's how I like. You know, this is a dude that when Amanda Waller first wanted him in the Suicide Squad, said no.
Yeah.
Just had to put stones to tell Waller, and then at some point he does get in the squad and takes it over almost, takes over the skilled units. So yeah, he you know, he's one of these guys that has a charisma to him, but it's not a good charisma; it's an evil charisma. So he is a natural born leader, but what he's leading people to is not good.
Understood. That's a good one. All right, Jamie, how about you? Let's go with you next.
I like him when he's just a tactical beast. Kind of like leaning into what Uncle Gary said. He's not just muscles and a laser helmet, though. You know, when writers actually lean into that genius level intellect and his tech, you know, he built his own power armor. He commands his own subs, leads ocean crime syndicates. He becomes the scary mastermind. And I made the comparison. He's like Iron Man meets Killmonger in my eyes, but villainous and just like soaked in vengeance. So
that's a good analogy. I like that.
So yeah, when he's a tactical beast and they actually do put that forth instead of being this like one trick minded pony, like Aquaman must die. Like he's more than just that.
Aquaman must die.
Yeah. As we all heard.
Yes, indeed. All right, Dan, how about you?
Well, yeah, like you said, Gary, he, you know, Waller went to him a couple times and wanted him to join the Suicide Squad. And he said no. And she's like, I'll give you, you know, he goes, because he said to her, no, I know what goes on with there. It's one mission, and then, but you don't get free. Then one mission goes into another mission. She goes, I'll give you anything you want. What do you want? And then it's the line that was the last one in Sal's intro that when he sent it to me, I said, you should put this line in where he said the only, whatever it was, it's like the only thing I want is Aquaman's death. And then, you know, all the crime syndicate people immediately then destroyed the prison and he broke out. But But yeah, I mean, he, you know, he is what he is. He goes after Aquaman. That's his, you know, fixated his one goal. And we've seen that when Aquaman is thought to be dead, he's like, all right, cool, I'm gonna retire. And you know, but when he's being just like a vicious, remorseless killer, but like you said, he's not quite on the level of Bullseye because he does have a big group of henchmen, and he does, you know, have some heart to him. You know, he's got his son, that, you know, that ended up siding with Aquaman, but you know, still he does still have that attachment to him, you know, even though it's slight. But you know, and then, you know, there's the one issue in his miniseries where he, you know, the pirate ship is, you know, overtaken the, you know, the cruise ship, and Black Manta goes and basically kills all the pirates and tells the, you know, the pirate leader, he's like, all right, you can keep the ship, we're taking everything else, but then actually saved, you know, still saved the people that were on the cruise liner. So, you know, he does have some kind of a heart. He just kind of tries to deny it most of the time.
And sometimes he will attach himself to a cause, which is something that Bullseye would never do.
Yeah. And he does have an attachment that he formed to what's that character's name from his miniseries? Something the goat.
Right, Gallus.
Yeah, the goat. That you saw. He did have an attachment to her.
Yeah.
So it's Bullseye isn't going to make any any of those attachments.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay, very good. All right, for me, you guys actually talked on all my points, but one of the similarities I saw, which I like best, is they compared him with the Joker. He's Aquaman's and Black Manta is like Batman and the Joker. I mean, he is a true sociopath. He is a genius with all his stuff. I like the scavenging part of him, and I like that he built the power armor. And to be honest with you, when I was a kid, because I saw the huge helmet, I thought his head was that big. I didn't know what he looked like. But
You
that
thought he looked like Arnold in the cartoon.
with the big head like that.
Hey, football head.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
at one point when he got powers, he got turned into it, and that's what his head actually was.
Well, there you go. I didn't know that, kid, but that alluded or it made a mysterious background, which made him more interesting to me type situation. So I like that when their past is shrouded a little bit. So you just know just a little bit, and then he come out and he's like got this purpose, he's got this vengeance, he's completely pissed off, and it worked for him. Like the anger and the rage worked for him. If there was a red power ring, he would get that one. I'm dead serious on that.
Yeah.
So
and one thing about him is, I don't think he kills just to kill. He kills when things are in his way or in the way of his agenda.
Right.
He doesn't mind killing, but he's just not killing just to kill.
Correct. That's almost like the Joker. Almost.
Oh,
Black blanket.
That's a resemble a blanket either. Okay. So yeah, that's what I like best about him. So let's go ahead and jump to our next segment, which is 3 badass moments. And Dan, you can go ahead and kick us off on that.
I'm going to assume that one of you guys has Adventure Comics 452 on your list.
See,
I do, but it's my 4th one because I knew it would happen as well.
I had it on mine, but I assume it was going to be on there, so I'll skip that for someone.
go
I'll
ahead.
go with
You can talk into it if you want.
no, because I got 4 other ones.
Oh.
Do it.
So I'll go with Brightest Day issue 1. Like I said, when when Aquaman was dead, he was just like, oh, cool, I'm done. So he retired and was living and it was just a fishmonger at this seaside town. And then he sees on the news that Aquaman has been resurrected, and he's like gutting this fish and sees it and just the look that's on his face. And he's got a couple customers in there, and one of them goes, oh, that because the news the story is about, oh, Aquaman saved these people. It's so great that he's back. And, this one customer that's there goes, oh, man, it's so great that he's back, isn't he? And Manta's got the knife in his hand from gutting this fish. And he just goes and kills this guy, kills everybody that's in the store, burns his house down. And then you just see him walk into the ocean. And then a second later, just reappear in the Black Manta armor. And
that was badass.
That was.
And it's like, damn, this guy, literally, it's everything is about, killing Aquaman. When he thought Aquaman was dead, hey, I'm just going to retire and live a quiet life. Most everyone else would, they'd find some other hero to go after, or they'd be like, oh, I'm going to go commit crimes and this and that. And he was just like, no, I'm going to retire. Oh, he's still alive? Yeah, I got to go. What's that line from that one scene from Rick and Morty where the little alien guys goes running like, oh boy, looks like I'm killing again.
Yeah.
So I would have to think with Manta though, he's still not the dude you would want to piss off.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Oh no.
Even in retirement, he's still a guy that will fillet you like those fish that he was gutting.
I had another one from Brightest Day, but I'll skip that one in case someone else has it, which I'm sure they do. So Aquaman Volume 8, Number 6. He had this big battle with Aquaman, gets captured, and then as they're taking him away, the authorities are taking him away, someone comes and breaks him out, and he's like, who are you? And this woman goes, I'm from Nemo. And he goes, yeah, okay, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, we're this, blah, blah, criminal organization. They take him to their big base. He meets the Fisher King, who is the guy that runs this whole organization. And Fish King's like, oh, I love to have you work for us because of your tech skills and your fighting and your, all this. And he's telling him like, all right, well, this is what I want. I want Aquaman. I want to go after. I want him dead. And then he's like, all right, we'll do that, but we got this other stuff. And Black Manta doesn't like what he hears, so he just instantly kills the Fisher King, sits on the throne, and he's like, all right, I'm in charge now. Anybody anything to say? And everyone's like, okay. So that's how he took over his own, got his own gigantic worldwide criminal organization, because it's literally in the first meeting with the guy that runs it, he was, introducing him into the comic, you're thinking like, oh, is this guy going to be like a big string pull or something? Like, oh, no, he's just going to be a corpse.
Yeah. How often do you go for a job interview and kill the boss?
Yeah.
I think most of us have had jobs where we'd like to kill them shortly afterwards.
Yeah.
And the last one I'll go with is Aquaman Volume 4, Issues 5 and 6. He uses a torpedo and destroys Mercy Reef, which is where Aquaman lives on the surface where he's from, where the lighthouse is. And then as he's fighting, he does that in issue 5, and then in issue 6, as he's fighting Aquaman, he stabs him in the chest and thinking, all right, he's dead, and then just leaves him to die and goes away. Then Aquaman, calls the fish and they come to save him. But he was just like, oh, yep, all right, you're dead. Bye. Damn, that's cold-hearted.
Man, that is.
So those are my 3, and like I said, I'm sure you guys had Adventure 452, so I'll leave it for you. Then if no one else has got the other Brightest Day one, I'll hit that one on the way back.
All right, then sounds good. Uncle Gary, why don't you go ahead next?
I'll go last. Y'all go ahead.
All right, Jamie?
Sure.
Gary's like, I got 20 of them here. I'll just pick the ones.
Gary, do you want 452? Because I think you explained it better.
You can have it.
Okay. Well, I got that he murders Aquaman's son, obviously, Adventure Comics 452.
He killed Aqua Baby.
Yeah,
Arthur Jr.
To me, this is the moment that made Black Manta like one of the DC's most hated and feared villains.
Yeah, because stuff like that didn't really happen in comics.
No, this was a huge deal.
And this is like when we talk about Uncle Gary Showcase, some old school Silver Bronze Age Manta.
This is like 76. This is like 76.
77, I think.
77.
77.
But yeah, this is Silver Bronze Age. Manta captures Aquaman's infant son, puts him in a death trap, and forces Aquaman to fight Aqualad to save him.
To the death.
Yeah. Aquaman fails. And Manta actually kills the baby. Like, there's no in most comics, you have last minute saves or fake outs near the end. Nope, he just legit ends Arthur Jr.'s life.
Well, lets him suffocate.
Yeah. At that time, it was unheard of and still unheard of even now. It's still one of the darkest, coldest villain moves in DC history.
Yep.
That's the grudge match that started. What do you call it? Or that scarred Aquaman forever.
And Mara, it drove Mara crazy, and it caused them to break up.
Huge rift, and also caused a rift with Aqualad because Aquaman was fighting Aqualad. He was choosing saving his son over Aqualad at that time, and Garth thought he was going to kill him.
Yeah.
And then Arthur pivoted and tried to save his son. Before the end of that, but it put a huge rift between he and Garth, and he and Murrah. Murrah blamed him for a long time for that.
Yeah.
And they and it's not like they brought Arthur Jr. back. He's
not been
at this point he's been retconned out of existence, but
which is a shame because that's such a layer of tragedy.
Yeah.
That not many here. John Jones, the Manhunter from Martian Manhunter lost his child and wife. So he and Aquaman had those tragedies, with their children.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my number 2 was already taken by Dan. He dismantles Nemo and basically just becomes his leader. So I don't need to go further into that one. But my number 3 is from Aquaman, Volume 8, number 39. Black Manta goes one-on-one with Aquaman with no helmet. This fight was just all pride and no grit. No gadgets, no armors, just hands rated E for everyone. Black
I
Manta
was going
challenge.
to use that line. Damn it.
Black Manta challenge Aquaman to a 1-on-1 fight in Sub Diego. No tech, no powers, no interference, just fist. He takes his helmet off, gets in the water, and goes toe to toe with the King of Atlantis like he's got nothing to lose. It was raw, brutal, and it was personal. You get to see sheer rage this man carries and how far he's willing to go to hurt Aquaman. Even though Arthur wins, Manta walking into the fight with nothing but hate in his heart, that was a big, big move. So,
Definitely badass.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, cool. Then I will go next since Uncle Gary wants to go last. One of my badass moments is actually on the coattails of both of you guys' badass moment. In Aquaman Rebirth, Volume 8, Issues 12 through 15, he actually manipulates political events, sinks ships, and causes chaos to get Aquaman kicked off the throne. And then he just waltzes in there and takes over Atlantis out of sheer terror. It's just, to me, that was pretty badass in itself. I mean, it's just, we manipulate the whole situation. We get him kicked off, and you just walk in and take it over. Similar to the way he took over Nemo, but with less violence. But hey, it worked, and I like it. Badass. My second one is another one-on-one fight with Aquaman. It was in Volume 7, Issue 13. This is in the desert, so they're stripped of the usual ocean-based powers. Aquaman is also vulnerable, but he still wants to face him in the middle of the desert. He holds his own, and it's just badass because Manta doesn't care. He'll throw hands, ready to eat for everyone. That was my line. I was going to use that line, but Jamie,
You're welcome.
That's all right. But thank you very much. So this is showing how badass he is because he's just willing to throw hands anywhere, anytime. And then I'm not sure if this is what you were talking about, Dan. I'm not sure if this is a duplicate of yours, but he takes out Ocean Master in just seconds. This is Aquaman 2022 issue number 5. He, Ocean Master's up there and he's talking, monologuing like everybody bad guy likes to do. Man just slips in, just stabs him with a blade and mid-speech, and then just takes over. He's just no warning, just a blade to the chest. He goes, talking is for kings. I'm here to win, and takes over. So I'm not sure if that was part of yours, Dan, or
No,
was not.
No, I didn't have that.
Okay, so that's a different one, Dan. Good.
Well, and Booge, about the helmet. Remember, underwater, that helmet's not going to be as big and cumbersome. It's going to be not as heavy.
It's buoyant.
Yeah, it's buoyant. That's right.
Buoyant.
Yeah, every time I hear the word cumbersome, I just go back to the 90s. I have become cumbersome to this world.
All right, Uncle Gary, let's hear your top 3.
All right. Well, yeah, everything y'all said, very good. I mean, killing Arthur Jr., just brutal. And I wouldn't even call it a badass moment, just a asshole, moment, or just an awful moment. And that's what he is. Also, when he took over Nemo, and that was great. He goes in, he's basically getting a job interview, kills the boss, takes over. But what he did was he manipulated events to make it look like Atlantis attacked the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's got the world on a brink of a huge war, and he's got Aquaman discredited and on the outs with the Justice League. And he's released the Shaggy Man in Atlantis, and Aquaman almost gets killed, getting rid of him. And, he doesn't call the League in because, he's on the outs with the League because of this political, he's kind of persona non grata with the League because Atlantis is considered to be an enemy of America at the time. And
Led to a pretty good fight with Superman, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was just a heck of a orchestration that Manta did. And because he was hiding what Nemo did, none of his operatives were supposed to be taken alive. And Aquaman takes over a ship, and before they can, do any questioning or anything like that, Manta hits a button, and this high decibel sound rips through the ship and just explodes their eardrums and their heads.
Oh, jeez.
So just melts, just blows up their brains. So I guess he did kind of admire one thing Waller did. So he took out his whole crew of people doing that. And then in the
not much of a retirement plan.
No, not much of a retirement plan with Nemo. And then when in the trade paperback, let's see, was it Black Manta? It was it Kingdom Lost or Black Manta Rising, where he he was caught by Aquaman, and he self-destructed his entire ship in order to, just not to be caught. And you did. I think that was in Manta Rising, and he did that just to just so he wouldn't be caught by Aquaman or captured, and he was willing to risk his own death. He just did not care. And in Aquaman, the Jeff Johns New 52, where
he's part of the Legion of Doom.
Yes, he definitely was. And they always worried about him. Luthor and those other guys always worried about him taking over too, because he had that kind of personality. When I know that the other one Dan was referencing in Brightest Day was when there was a great beachfront fight with Siren and Manta and Aquaman and Jackson Hyde and Mera, and Aquaman got his hand sliced off by Manta, and Manta was going to deliver the coup de grace on him, and Jackson got in the way, his son got in the way and stopped it, and so that was just, he had Aquaman at his mercy, hand off, grabbing his hand, and he was gonna cut his head off.
Well, he wasn't even fighting. Aquaman wasn't even fighting him that time. He was fighting someone else, and then Manta just pops up out of the water behind him and just whack and just slices it clean off. And Aquaman's like,
it was a cheap shot. It was a cheap shot for sure.
Yeah.
It was a sucker punch. A sucker slice.
But are you really a superhero if you don't lose your hand in at least one arc?
That's right. And
how many times did Aquaman lost his hand?
Yeah, though it was cool when the piranhas ate it off. That was pretty badass. But Samantha, that's who he is. He loves. I just really love the dichotomy where he loves his blades, but he also has the tech with the eye beams. So he'll laser you, he'll laser something off of you, or he'll slice it off of you. So the badass is just reiterating a lot of the things that y'all had, which is just fine. And when like Dan said, when he finds out Aquaman's alive and he just wipes out the store, burns his house down, and walks in the water. That might be the most badass thing there.
Yeah, because it's just him because he had the house on the beach, and you just see him standing on the beach at night. The house is on fire, and then just without saying anything, just walks into the water, and then you just see the water, and then Black Manta comes out of it, and it's that whole just kind of symbolizing the whole transformation.
The rebirth.
Yeah.
Right.
Rebirth. Get it?
Yeah.
That's right.
I gotcha.
See what I did there?
Yeah, you did. All right, then. Let's go ahead and kick off our next segment, then, which is critiques and criticisms and stuff that we do not like about the character. I'll go ahead and kick this off because I really don't have much. I don't have much that I don't like about him. I don't know if he's a team player, but I don't like him as part of a team. I want him to be more solo, like more in charge type of situation. So being a partner on the team, not so much. So that's probably the only really critique I have for him. I don't want him to be on a team. I want him to be leading the team. So, Dan, how about you?
I guess my critique would be, well, the first one, as I said in the intro, where he's got a bunch of origins. This is the one I like best. Mm-hmm. He's got too many, and it's not that they're just variations on the same thing. They're all like drastically different. There's the one, like I said, the one that I said, and it's kind of the one that they used sort of in the movie a little bit too. But that's the one to me that actually legitimately explains why he's got such a mad on for wanting to kill Aquaman, because all the other ones that he has, like the connection with him hating Aquaman, is tenuous at best. One of them was he was like working on a slave on a ship, and he saw Aquaman in the distance.
Yeah, that's dumb.
And Aquaman didn't save him, so he's like, "Oh, I have to kill him now." Like, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
One of them, he was like an autistic kid that was in Arkham Asylum, and and like all the ways that they try and tie his hatred into Aquaman, like I said, are so tenuous. The thing with the fathers, that's the one that really works. Well, like I said, I don't even know if that's the one that's canon right now because there's so many different ones and every.
I think it is. I think it is, and I think and even his name. They changed his name.
Yeah.
From David Hyde to I can't remember the other one right now.
Milton.
Yeah, Milton, and then back to Hyde. Yeah,
Milton.
That's right. It is. Yeah, that's right. It is back to Hyde now. Yeah. Yeah, and again, and then where they added the thing like, oh, when he's descended from this tribe from Atlantis that were deserters, like, you don't have to, you don't have to tie him to Aquaman in that way. That's just a little. Reaching a little bit too far. And the one time, for a while they had him when he revealed that he was actually black and his whole thing was he was trying to they were going to take over Atlantis and have it be a new black nation or something like. There's so many different ones that just, and there's too many. And then the other thing I don't like is, yeah, he is a cool character, but he's kind of one-dimensional in the fact that he has the obsession over Aquaman, and that's it. If there's no Aquaman, he's
done.
He's done. He has no. Even the Joker will terrorize other heroes. Even though he's focused on Batman, he'll still mess with other ones. Black Manta has no interest in anyone else. He just wants to kill Aquaman, and that's it. And it kind of makes him a little one-dimensional that there's only so much you can do with that character when that's all his motivation is.
True. All right, Gary, how about you?
The main thing, the retconning was stupid, and then to change it, and then thankfully they did change it back to that origin and the name that we like. And at one point they turned him into a manta ray.
That Neron did.
Neron
that. Yeah.
And that was really stupid. That to me is worse than the retconning. To turn him into a damn manta ray. So those are my criticisms. But the rest of it, I like him as a character. And to Dan's point, when he just wants to kill Aquaman, that does make him too one-dimensional. I like him as a seafaring pirate, with nefarious means of what he wants to accomplish. So, so if they would portray the character like they kind of did in his miniseries a little bit, where the miniseries barely had Aquaman in it, and I found Manta really interesting in that series. So they need, focus more on that. Don't make it just, sure, he's got the hard on for Aquaman, he wants to kill him, but also have that other side. I mean, because what he wanted, when he took over Nemo and almost had Atlantis and the surface at odds, that was bigger than just trying to kill Aquaman. That was a whole much bigger plot and plan, and that was pretty that was that's pretty grand design to try to, because what he did, I mean, it was pretty, it almost worked.
Yeah, very true.
But the whole thing with Aquaman, like, hey man, I love cheeseburgers, I'll eat cheeseburger every day, but you know what, sometimes I just want a slice of pizza too.
Yep.
You know what, sometimes I want some fried chicken. Can't be the same thing every day. And with him, it's just too, it always comes back to kill Aquaman.
It does.
Kill the rabbit? What? Okay. Jamie, how about you?
I gotta go with Dan when he's just a one-note revenge machine. If the story doesn't rely on he hates Aquaman because of daddy issues, it doesn't evolve anything past that. It gets old really quick, and we get it, we understand, but if there's no growth or a fresh twist to it, it feels just stale. Just kind of like rehearing the same old saying over and over again. You just get tired of hearing it, So if that wasn't the case, but when it's not the case, he's fantastic. But if it's every time and there's nothing more, it's just
well, because even Aquaman's other main villain, his brother Orm, Ocean Master, he's not obsessed with killing Aquaman, and at times they're friends. So yeah, they're at odds with each other at times, but he has other goals and motivations. Whereas Manta is just, I got to kill Aquaman. Everything I do is in the pursuit of killing Aquaman.
Yes.
Well, there's a certain vigilante in Gotham City who's pretty obsessed because his parents were killed, and his goal is to stop crime in Gotham. That's it.
Yeah.
So
There are times that gets stale too.
Yeah, well, it does, but I believe his obsession is almost along the lines of Batman's obsession.
True. All right, for our next segment, we're going to jump to top covers. And let's see. Gary, I got yours ready. You ready to do your top covers, Gary?
Let's do my cover.
There you go.
Gary's. Nice.
All right, so we're going old school with the one on the left. That is the creator there, co-creator, Nick Cardy. And I love when the logos are incorporated into the book.
Absolutely.
And that is one of the greatest examples of it. And there's Manta Triumphant, and that is Aquaman 42, Nick Cardy at his finest.
Nick Cardy goodness.
Yes, sir. And then the one on the far right is Brightest Day 19, and that's by David Finch and Scott Williams. And I love the you got the blade in his hand, and you got those laser eyes getting ready to shoot out, getting ready to incinerate something, underwater. I think it's so cool. And the one in the middle is Aquaman 50 cover B. It's by Ryan Sook. It's Aquaman Volume 8. And it's, everything about Manta so much is the helmet. And that is such a cool view of that helmet. And I love Aquaman and Murrah being the reflected in the lenses of the helmet there, and the red on the gills that have lit up. I just think that is a fantastic shot of what I think we'll all agree the most defining feature of Manta is that helmet.
Yeah, because the rest of his suit is really just plain black body armor, and I don't think he's someone that needs a detailed costume. Like the simplicity of it, and then that signature helmet works for him.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a dive suit. It's an armored dive suit, is what it is. Yep.
I almost chose that cover too. That's a good one. All right, Dan, I've got yours here. Ready?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Well, we're simpatico on Aquaman 42. That's just such a badass cover, and
it is.
Yeah, and like you said, with the logo incorporated, and I like the source of the light is coming from underneath of them and rising up, almost like one of those underwater, like on one of those underwater geysers or something. Like he's getting ready to throw Aquaman into one. Just badass. The middle one from Black Manta #1, I just thought that's a great shot of him swimming forward, and then you see all the mantas around him, and the purple I thought was really cool. And where the fish and the mantas are kind of swirling around him as he's coming, I thought was a great one.
Yeah, very good one too.
Yeah, and then Black Manta 2, issue 2, the A cover for that I thought was just awesome when you see him leaping sword first into the maw of this giant sea monster. Now, unfortunately, this is a misleading cover because nothing like that actually happens inside of that issue. Not even remotely. Now, the issue after that, he fights a big monster that could kind of be like this. So I don't know why they didn't use that cover for issue 3, but it's still just a badass, awesome cover.
So 2 things. I like the pink and purple one too, and I almost incorporated that into my intro. Hey Chris, but I could not make it work because it was, I don't know, it just I couldn't get a good clip of it to make it work into the intro, so I had to let it go. But I also like the font of Black Manta in his series.
Yeah,
that font just looks pretty badass on there as well.
I agree. That's a pretty cool logo.
Yes, Black Manta and Sharknado.
Sharknado. All right, Jamie, I got yours queued up next. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, here you go.
All right. So first,
nice.
First one I got is Forever Evil.
Yep.
This is the B cover. It's issue 6. And it's just awesome having, well, you know who's under the hood if you've read it. But Black Manta sitting back there just ready to beam somebody. As I've been digging through all my boxes because I'm trying to, put every of my collection together and not have it sporadically sprawled out. I found the Black Manta Aquaman. I think it's 23.2.
23.1.
Is it 1? Okay.
Yeah, it's 23.1.
Yeah,
Okay.
23.2 was the Ocean Master one.
Was Ocean Man? I thought he was first for some reason. But I found this, and I just love the lenticular covers, especially from that whole New 52 series with the villains. But this one, you got Aquaman laying dead in the back, and you got the blood swirling around him with his sword. And then, like we talked about earlier, this is Black Manta #1. This is the B cover. And he's sitting on the throne. Just
like he just took it over.
Yeah, this is mine. Come at me, bro.
Well, that's cool. I thought of that, that second and third one I almost picked too. And I like the one where he's sitting on the throne because it mirrors so many drawings of Aquaman where you see him sitting on the throne, the Atlantis throne, and you see him holding his trident when he does it. And I thought that was a good mirror image of that.
I agree.
Awesome covers. All right, so here are mine. And look at that. Let's start with that far right one since we already have it. Jamie and I are simpatico on that one. Issue 23.1. I like, but I dislike the lenticular covers. I like the drawing itself, but I don't like lenticular as a whole. So, but I still like the cover.
Hey, each their own, man.
Yep. It's pretty badass with the blood flying around him too. That middle one, I believe, is Aquaman Volume 1. Yep, this is from Volume 1. This is based off of number 35, but it's the G cover. I don't know who the artist was of it, but they redid issue number 35.
That's really cool.
And
for some reason, the background reminds me of a expanded headed Ant-Man.
I was going to say the head looks like a big ant.
Yeah, very true. So the far one there is Black Manta #4. This is the B cover. Cover artist here was Sanford Green, but I like the as he's walking through, like it almost looks like stuff is burning around him. It looks like he got some dead people or some people statues behind him, and he's got the 2 harpoon guns lifted up. He's ready to blast somebody through.
Damn.
Yeah, the one on the left I considered because that was a pretty cool image.
Right. I like that because it just felt like everything was on fire behind him, and he's just walking in with the 2 guns, ready just to harpoon somebody's ass. So
I don't know, the way it's drawn looks like he's got some big old titties there.
Big old man titties.
Well, he wasn't working out at the time, so
those definitely aren't Rob Liefeld Captain America breastises.
That's true.
Those are next level.
Mm-hmm. Those are the ultimate goal. All right, before we jump into our next segment, Jamie, we got something we want to give away. And there you go.
Yes.
Wait, who was the artist in the first one? Oh, I'm sorry. The 23.1A. That would be the penciler was Paul Petlier. And the inker, and the inker was Sean Parsons. So sorry.
Ivan Reyes had a lot of good Aquaman covers on the run he did with Johns, and Paul Plater had some really good ones too.
Yeah, Gleason was so good too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was hard. I almost didn't choose 2 from the Black Manta series because I wanted to pick 2 from this, but I was like, I love that one of him jumping in the monster, and then the purple one too.
Yeah.
This is one could have easily picked like top 10 covers.
True. All right, Jamie, tell us about that giveaway.
Yeah. So, new month, new giveaway. This month, we're giving away Rand Thanagar War complete set, and for Thunderbolts movie coming out, Avengers, and there I am, Thunderbolts. So there's 3 ways to enter. 1, if you're in the chat right now, put in hashtag giveaway, we'll enter you in. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button and then take a screenshot, post it, on any of our socials or down below in the comments, and we'll enter you that way. We've already had a few, which is great, and we've got subscribers from it, and awesome. So they're automatically entered. And lastly, if you love us, guys, join the membership. It's $1 a month, and you're entered into every single giveaway throughout the year. Oh, and
Most definitely.
tomorrow is the last day of entry. So we'll be announcing.
Is it?
Yes, we'll be announcing that
Mm.
the 26th.
Yes, indeed. So get those hashtag giveaways in there soon before that closes up. Next month is, I guess we'll tell you about the giveaways for next month, next week.
Yeah.
All right. All right, very good. Let's go ahead now and jump to essential readings. And let me see. Jamie, I got you queued up first here. You ready to go?
Of course.
All right, here you go.
All right. So first off, we got Aquaman, the Dodge. This is prime modern Black Manta to me. Right out of the gate in Rebirth, Manta is leading Nemo. We've already talked about that, and he's not playing any games. He's got a whole new agenda behind all the revenge. And we get deeper. We get more of a deeper look into his motivations. It's political, it's intense, and the clash with Aquaman here, it actually feels earned. Manta in this is ruthless. He's calculated. It's not just like a random person with a grudge anymore. He's evolving through the story. This arc really does cement him as one of the top tier threats to me in the DCU. Next up, we got Black Manta, the miniseries from 2021. This one's all about him. You get inside of his head, his past, his ambitions. This is his time to shine in the series. It explores his legacy, his complicated relationship with his son, and even his health. Let's see. There's this. I lost my train of thought here for a second. Sorry. There's this gnarly artifact called the Scarab, tied to ancient power, and Manta's got to deal with it while navigating old rivalries and new enemies. If you ever want to understand what makes Black Manta tick beyond, he hates Aquaman, this is that book. And lastly, we got Aquaman, Throne of Atlantis. Now, this is a crossover event in Aquaman 14 through 16 and Justice League 15 through 17, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So, technically, Manta isn't the main villain here. That's more Ocean Master, but Manta plays a sneaky, important role behind the scenes. What's cool is you get to see how deep his obsession with Aquaman actually runs and how he manipulates situations to his advantage. Plus, this story kicks off some major development for both Aquaman and Manta going forward into this. If you like the high stakes, some great storytelling with the Justice League involved, this is one that I'm going to throw in.
All right. Very cool. Good stories. All right, Dan, I got yours next. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so lead off Aquaman Volume 7. This is the New 52, issue 7 through 14. This is where they introduced a team that was actually pretty cool. And, it's unfortunate they didn't use these characters longer, called the Others, where it turned out that before Arthur became Aquaman, he was involved with this group of, they were all kind of loners that were brought together. And each one of them had this different ancient Atlantean relic that gave them whatever their power was. And the story starts out with, in issue 7, with Manta murdering one of them and stealing the artifact. And he starts going around trying to get them all. And then, Aquaman's trying to stop him and get them all back together. Oh, excuse me. Get the team, all of them back together so they can stop him. And it's just some absolutely brutal fights in it that go with him. So it's a really good read. And then it led to a really good but short-lived series called Aquaman and the Others. Yeah. The next one I got is also from Volume 7. It's that one you guys showed the covers for, issue 23.1. It's, again, where I had said that, one of the times that Waller asked him to join the Suicide Squad and he said no, and then the crime syndicate busted in. This takes place kind of as a prelude to the Forever Evil crossover. And you could really read this and then read the Forever Evil crossover too, or main book too, because he was one of the more prominent villains that were in that were standing up and going against the crime syndicate. And you see in this one, you see the reason why is because he breaks out of prison. And then when the crime syndicate comes and they tell everyone we've killed the Justice League, and they kind of throw their stuff down, they throw Wonder Woman's lasso and they throw Aquaman's trident, and Manta screams at everyone, "It's mine," and picks it up. And everyone's all right, man, it's yours. Cool. And then he goes to his father's grave and, is like talking to him, takes his helmet off. He's like, "Dad, it's over. It's finally over." And then Ultraman does something where he moves the moon because he can't be in the sunlight. And it screws up the tide patterns and causes this huge wave that washes away his father's, not just washes away his coffin, but he sees it happen there where it gets washed away and his father's skeleton comes out of the coffin and gets washed away. And he was already pissed at the crime syndicate for killing Aquaman where he couldn't. So this is the one where he said, all right, I'm going after them because they killed the guy I wanted to kill, and they did this to my father's grave. And read that in going into Forever Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Really showed his motivations for that. And then the miniseries, his only standalone story, Black Manta 1 through 6. Like they said earlier, I think it was Jamie said earlier, or that he's Aquaman's barely in it. It gets into where it reveals that he's a descendant of this tribe that had left, and it had abandoned Atlantis. But you get to see him on his own without really. He never even deals with Aquaman, and Aquaman's just kind of on a couple pages here and there in Atlantis. But you get to see him on his own, and it's the one time that we see him doing stuff that's not directly tied to killing Aquaman. And it's something that'd be nice to see the character used more that way. I will say this though, the story in the book is good. The artwork is absolute garbage. So,
Yeah.
So you got to prepare yourself. The covers are decent, but the interior artwork just absolutely sucks. But the story is really good.
Yeah.
Story driven.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome stuff. All right, Uncle Gary, I got you queued up next. You ready?
Yep.
All right, there you go.
Let's go ahead. So we'll talk about that trade paperback. I felt I had to include it because it was his only miniseries where it's just him. And the art is not the greatest, but it is an interesting story. So Aquaman 7 through 13, Volume 7. It's trade paperback number 2 of Volume 7, if you want the trade. And that's by Jeff Johns, Ivan Reis, and Joe Prado. And just really great story. And, where he's finding those relics of old Atlantis and dealing with the others. And he takes, the others don't come through all intact. So he has been a little lethal with them. So that was pretty, very brutal. And then Aquaman volume 6, 32 to 39. It's it's ending the Sub Diego saga, and it's issue 32 to 39. And the trade paperback is Kingdom Lost, and that's where he's, all these machinations to take over the kingdom and all fall through. And of course, Arthur stops him, and he ends up, self-destructing himself in the process to get out of. So he's not captured. It was just kind of a brutal story. But I think I would swap that out if I was doing it now and add the one that we have talked about quite a bit here with Badass Moments. And that's volume 2 of when they went to Rebirth. And I guess that would be volume 8, I guess. And it's volume 2, issues. Let's see. Well, the trade is on Black Manta Rising. and it's 7 through 15 are the issues it covers in Volume 8. And this is where he took over Nemo and almost caused a war between Atlanta and the United States, and got the Justice League involved, and Aquaman on the outs with the Justice League, and a worldwide, fugitive. So just a really great story, and his manipulations in that are stellar. So I think I would swap that out for Kingdom Lost, put Black Manta Rising in.
All right, very cool. All right, so for my stories or my recommended readings, well, I too also went with Black Manta 1 through 6. I'm not gonna really dive into that. You guys covered all the points. Uncle Gary, you covered a lot of that. The Trench and the Death of a King. You had it from like 7 up to like 13 as well. Just an amazing story right there. I like it. I feel like it's the Black Manta arc of the run type of thing. I like the others. I like the relics. It was
Yeah, I just went. It does end at 13. I just went to 14 with mine because in 14, that's where you see him kind of in jail, and you see Waller trying to recruit him for the Suicide Squad for the first time.
Yeah. And I almost went to 25 with this volume, just because the following arc was still just as good, and Jeff Johns is just a really kick-ass writer with that. So
yeah.
I don't need to really lean into any more of this because Uncle Gary covered a lot. And my last one there, of course, number 35, the Nick Cardy goodness cover itself. It's just, this was just badass because this was the first appearance. I like it. He's tech savvy. He wants to rule the ocean. He's brutal and merciless. It just defines him, I think, perfectly. It's the issue that starts everything off. So that's why I like it.
Good picks.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, so we've gotten essential readings out of the way. We can now jump to best writer and author, and I'm gonna let Jamie go first. Jamie,
best writer and artist.
Best. Yep, you're right. Best writer and artist. I don't know why I messed that up. I messed it up every week.
Yeah, my top writer, I got to go back to Chuck Brown on that miniseries. That was really good. I really enjoyed that whole miniseries, like just getting an in-depth look. And it's not, like we were talking about, Aquaman like centric. My artist, Joe Prado, and that's from the whole Rebirth era. I thought he looked fantastic in there.
Yep. Yeah. Good stuff. I had a hard time picking out
that was hard, but that's where I started with Aquaman.
So Chuck Brown, it was Chuck Brown or Jeff Johns for me. And if no one chose Jeff Johns, I was going to choose Jeff Johns. But since I'm going second, I'll go with Jeff Johns. So, the artist.
Jeff Johns again.
Jeff Johns. He's paying me $1 for it to say his name every time. So, artist. Wow, it was.
And trying to pick one for either category was difficult.
Yep. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Scott Eaton. I like.
Oh, okay.
He was probably the first. He was the first one I had listed when I start reading the stories. I'm like, oh, I like this artwork, and I write down the artist's name. So he was the first one I chose. So that's why I'm gonna go with that. Okay, Dan, how about you?
I'm gonna kind of echo it with writer as. What the hell are you doing?
I was waving the Precious. He was in the background there.
Oh, I didn't even see.
There we go. Hey, we see you.
Hey,
we see you.
Yeah,
hello.
You want to say hi? You want to come on there and say hi? You want to show me your Letterman's jacket?
Take a 10-second break, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry, he got him a new Letterman jacket for Toy Story.
Nice.
Say hi.
Toy Story, nice.
Hey. You good? Say hi. Oh, you want to go play with the light? Okay.
All right.
Go play with the light.
Oh. I thought you said play with Blade. I'm like, don't let him play with swords.
He's already dastardly with elbows and knees. We're gonna get him in Muay Thai here soon.
There you go.
For writer, I'm with Sal. I'm gonna go with Jeff Johns, not just because of what he did with him on the Aquaman series, which Jeff Johns had a really good long run on Aquaman, and he used Black Manta a lot on it, and for being one of his top villains, in the Peter David run, he didn't really use Black Manta a lot, and some of the other ones he wasn't used a lot. And Jeff Johns really said, like, all right, I'm gonna make him prominent in it, but not just in Aquaman, but also in Forever Evil. When Johns wrote that, he made Black Manta, like I said in the reading, a pretty important character in that, especially what he does to the Alfred of the Crime Syndicate universe in that, almost badass moments when he finds Alfred on the Justice League base, and he just comes up behind him and just stabs the shit out of him until he dies. Like, Jesus.
Nice.
He just loves stabbing guys.
He does.
Stabby,
He does.
Stabby.
Stabby
But-
McStabbington.
Yeah, but yeah, like for what he did with him, making him so prominent in Aquaman and in Forever Evil and in Brightest Day as well.
Yep.
I just had to go with Johns for that. And then for artist, I went with Ivan Reyes for the reading he had on
Yep.
with him on Aquaman. I kind of thought David Finch too, but then I was like, well, he only he did do great with him in Forever Evil, but he wasn't the main character in Forever Evil, and he was one of many, even though he was important in it. So Ivan Reyes.
Okay. Very good. Say Jeff Johns one more time. Go on.
Jeff Johns.
There we go. Thank you very much. Uncle Gary, how about you, buddy?
Apparently Sal gets a dollar every time anybody says it.
That's right.
Sal, I got 2 words for you. Ka-ching.
Jeff Johns?
Ka-ching. Jeff Johns.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, Jeff Johns and Ivan Reyes with Joe Prado doing the inks.
Joe Prado. Yes.
Yep. So
He was on my list too.
That team together on that new 52 run was spectacular.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Spectacular. So those are my picks.
All right. Awesome. Good job, guys. Awesome picks. Awesome stories. Of course, awesome top covers. You guys are great. Anybody in the studio audience want to chime in with anything? With any chats there? Any issues that stand out for you guys? I don't know. But anyhow, Black Manta, awesome character, you guys. Everybody should check this out, especially these readings that we've recommended. We all recommended the solo series Black Manta. It's only 6 issues. I'm sure you can pick that up pretty easily or read
He
it
lives
online.
in a pineapple under the sea.
It lives in a pineapple under the sea.
And he slices it just wonderfully.
Because he is stabby. He is
He's
stabby. He is stabby. All right, then I guess we can go ahead.
Stabberton.
He's from Abstinia.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can go ahead and put this one to bed, call it a night, and wrap this up. I am your host once again, Sal the Slab Guy, coming to you from the Codex Station with the Slavatorium right behind me. That's what I wanted to say, really. But when I'm not here, you can find me on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner. Dan, where can they find you, buddy?
Instagram, Dan Kelly Art.
There you go. And of course, Uncle Gary, where can they find you?
Woo! Comic Logic, baby. Loudoun County, Virginia's only comic book store. Please come see us. Got a lot of great events. Go online, Comic Logic, and you can read more about it.
Very good. Jamie, why don't you take us home then?
Yeah, so I'm going to say something I haven't said in a while, but ladies and gents, be kind to one another out there. Everyone's going through something, and even smiling at somebody could change the course of their day or life. And after some events I saw the past weekend, I feel like everyone could use it. So always be kind. And we will see you in the next one.